Hello and welcome to Slam episode 4. Matt, Ollie and Shay back again. A little break for the international games, lads. And then the Premier League has gone right back into it, hasn't it? Ollie?
It well, I mean, we can start with me, but I don't think it's been a fun weekend.
Can we start with you moving your leg a bit so I can actually get on that table?
Sure. Nice and get cosy.
Yeah, go on.
But we all dropped points this weekend. We just dropped a manager as well, so hey.
I feel like everyone's dropped a manager as well, to be honest.
Yeah, true. I mean, more managerial sackings, I think it is, now in this season than any other season.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's been 13 changes, but I think there's still like 8 of the same managers. Yeah, there is, because we've fired 2 managers.
Right, okay.
And it's been less than a year since we've had these owners.
Yeah. So
it's mad as that, especially when you link into like how close the bottom end of the table is. And everyone's just changed manager. It's just...
Well, I suppose that's the gamble you got to take. Like, do you change manager to try and stay up, or are you going to go down because you changed managers?
Some of them have been a bit uncalled for, though, I think.
Who? Name names.
Vieira. I think that was mad.
Yeah, I mean, they went on a bad run, though, didn't they?
That's going to happen in the Prem, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a bit harsh. I think most of them are harsh, but yeah, maybe Vieira.
I remember thinking Jesse Marsh was a bit of a mad one as well.
Yeah, I think the fans just never bought into him, and I think part of it obviously was because he was American. It's just there's something about it that it's hard to get behind.
But half their team's American.
No, but I'm saying from a fan's point of view, like just listening to him in press conference.
If you've been battered and you go in the press conference and he's like, "Oh, what a game of soccer that was!"
It's just Ted Lasso.
It's going to annoy you more.
Isn't it? It's a good game of 4 quarters, guys. Okay,
let's go eat some corn dogs.
Did you hear that? Just on that. I think it was Aaron Ramsdale said about their second keeper, Arsenal's second keeper, Matt Turner is American, and he said something funny that he said when he played City in the Cup, and I think De Bruyne or someone was arguing with the ref, and apparently Matt Turner bounced over and he was like, what did he say? Something like, "Hey dog, it's a dog fight out there," something like that, and it was like, oh God, what are you on about? But,
and Michael Richards, when Clint Dempsey was like, "You don't know where I'm from, dog. You don't know where I'm from."
There's this thing about Americans that it's like, because you see them in films and stuff, when you actually meet one in real life, it's like, God, they're actually real, aren't they? They're actually real people.
Hang on, you're a footballer with that accent.
It's mental. Anyway, bit of a sidetrack there. What we talking about?
Potter's gone. Finally, we've pretty much every episode we've said, is he going? Is he staying, Ollie? And then it seems like every time you've lost a game, you've done something mad in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, all the backing from the board was trying to give him time. And I guess this was the amount of time. Even though before they kept saying we're going to judge him in years and not games. But I guess the pool size was finally big enough for them to see there's zero progress going on with all this money that's been spent and all these players brought in, and we're still not scoring goals. We're creating chances, but we're still not scoring goals.
Do you not think there's a whole other issue there in the terms of, like, I think you touched on it a few weeks ago, the whole setup was the long-term backing. You've got players on, like, as we've said, 7-year contracts. If you're another manager looking to come into that job and you're thinking, I need to make this my team, but you can't move people on because they're on 7-year deals.
Well, I don't think the manager that comes in is going to be given the luxury of being able to change the team. Like, they've bought this team. They're not going to say, all right, we're just going to scrap this whole team because Graham Potter didn't work out. They want to bring in a manager that's going to fit this team. I think when Nagelsmann is being courted so much because Christopher Weivel is one of the guys who's made this team, and he made the same team for Leipzig when Nagelsmann came in. So I think that's one of the main connections that those two have. Why Nagelsmann might work so well at Chelsea.
What was the point of appointing Potter? Right?
Well, he was supposed to be the guy. They thought it was going to work, and it didn't work. So now they're changing it.
That's the argument, isn't it? Like, that in an ideal world, you'd have a director of football that sort of sorts out the squad, and you'd get a manager that suits the squad, rather than every manager you have to re-change.
Well, they're not. They've said they're not looking to change the whole team. They want to bring in a striker, and probably like a couple other maybes. I don't know, but they said they definitely need number 9, but they don't want to change this whole team. So I think that's why they like Nagelsmann so much. But I think they're also very wary of his age, and maybe he's not quite the firm hand that this squad needs that Tuchel was and that Potter never was. Like, you told a story about when Nagelsmann, when Mane had a little eruption in the Bayern room.
Apparently, it was quite common for Mane at Liverpool to have little eruptions if there was a bad result or something in the changing room, and it was just sort of dealt with. No one really hung on it, and it didn't really have a lasting effect. And obviously no one's sat in the Bayern dressing room, but one of the stories that come out after Nagelsmann was sacked, that Mane had one of these little rants, and the players sort of clocked Nagelsmann looking a bit sort of, fucking hell, whoa, like
scared a little Mane,
maybe scared.
God.
But yeah, almost. Apparently, it come across as he didn't really deal with it in a way that you'd expect a manager to do, and I think that mixed in with the Neuer goalkeeping thing.
Yeah,
he must have just lost a bit of authority there. But then he's obviously a talented manager, isn't he?
Yeah.
But so was Potter. Potter was clearly a talent, but he hadn't done it at a big club.
Nagelsmann, I'm going to say, he's done more in the game than Graham Potter, though.
Yeah, he's done more, but at the same time, I just don't think he's really been tested like that. Like, he won the league with Bayern and a team that's supposed to win the league. And then he did well at Leipzig and he did well at Hoffenheim, but again, they're not really those big clubs. Like Leipzig more so, he kind of put them on that stage, but it's not that same ruthless mentality you get at a Chelsea or a Bayern. And I think that's one of the things that Bowley and the team to get like that, trying to find a new Chelsea manager, want to know is why was he sacked at Bayern? Is it for similar reasons Potter was sacked? He didn't really have that authority over the dressing room. Like they might have liked him and worked under him, but did he really control the dressing room, or was that someone else?
So who would be your ideal Chelsea manager then?
I like Enrique. I think ideal and realistic. I like Luis Enrique. I think he's won a Champions League before. He's been at that very top level, worked with these very top players, worked with Messi, worked with Neymar. Obviously, these boys aren't Messi and Neymar, but they've probably got the ego of Messi and Neymar. And I like the way he plays. I think it would work well at Chelsea. I think Kovacic would be great underneath him. I think Enzo his game would just go up again, and his game is already so class. I think it would be really interesting to see Luis Enrique. Plus, I know he wants to take charge of a Premier League team. He's come out and he said he's reading all the English media. He really likes London. I think he'd be a great fit. But my other thing is this his squad, or would he want to change it? Whereas Nagelsmann, I think, would work.
I think that's part of it as well. Certain managers, the big name managers, even if you do manage to get one in terms of who's available, they're gonna want to change the squad. They're gonna have players they're gonna want to sign. And like you said, with Chelsea and Bowley are in a situation now where they're looking for a manager tailored to the squad. Are you really gonna, I don't know, someone like, I don't know how linked you are with him, but someone like Pochettino or like Enrique, they're gonna want to come in and make it their squad. If it's a long-term project, they don't want to be a yes man for a board.
I mean, we don't need another yes man. Potter was a yes man and it didn't work. Chelsea managers in the past have been ruthless and they've been strict and they've had character and personality.
I feel like Todd Bowley likes a yes man though. I
think he does, but I think he's realised that didn't work. And I think like one of the things he said made him realise that it didn't work was the volume of Chelsea fans, the impact the fans could have on a Premier League team. And I think he's going to try and bring someone that's going to get the fans on their side.
I think it made a massive difference when you heard like your fans singing. Like, I think Jamie Carragher last night on Monday Night Football hit it on the head. He was talking about when Potter came in with like his CV. Okay, he's got the job. He did really well at Brighton, but he's not done a lot in terms of achievement-wise in the game, winning things. It had to work straight away for him, and obviously it didn't really. But when you had fans singing at you, like you don't know what you're doing, and then the likes of Todd Bowley is going to be thinking.
Chelsea is an aggressive club. Chelsea want to be competing. We don't want to be 11th. We don't want to be losing to these teams that we know we should be beating, and we can see we're better then. Like, we've got the better players, but that's obvious to anyone who's watching. Like, we're creating way more chances. I think it was like 27 shots to like 4 against Aston Villa. And a lot of them were just, like, our best chances were Mudryk just pressing. And I don't know if that's something he's been told or it's just what he likes to do.
But surely if you're having 20-odd shots, then it's on the players, not the manager. You've got to finish those
surely
chances.
If the system's working and it's just that your centre forward's not finishing.
The system's not working. We don't have a centre forward. That's another thing. We need to bring in a centre forward. He's not the guy. He's not Aubameyang at Dortmund or Aubameyang at Arsenal. Like he's come on occasionally. He's not played well. He's not the answer, and I don't think anyone.
I think Aubameyang was signed for Thomas Tuchel, wasn't he? Aubameyang was Tuchel striker.
Yeah, he seemed to be signed to appease Tuchel.
Exactly, and then Tuchel went.
Yeah,
and then you've spent 300 odd million on a Potter squad. and then
Yeah,
Potter's
at
gone.
least.
So
Yeah.
like, what happens now?
Well, now we look for the new manager while Bruno Saltor takes us on for a bit. I think Chelsea haven't put a deadline on when they want a new manager. They've just said, we want to get it right this time, basically. So I think they think they want him to come in now, but they haven't said if we don't get the guy we want in the next week, we're not going to just sign anyone. We're not just going to appoint anyone. We're going to keep Bruno for as long as we need him.
Would you be happy with that, an interim?
I don't know who he is. He's a left back from Brighton. He said he's never picked a first team first 11 for a football game before in his life, and now he's got to pick against Liverpool. I mean, if he starts doing well, I'll take him. But I don't know.
There's
who he
definitely
is.
harder first games at the minute. To be honest.
Yeah, true.
What's this about John Terry coming in?
John, that's
Is that
a lot.
confirmed?
A lot of no, it's not confirmed at all. But a lot of the talk on Twitter from Chelsea fans is they want John Terry to add that personality into the dressing room, to add that CFC oomph. And Terry, he's working with the academy at the moment. He's one of the coaching staff in the academy team. And he said he doesn't want another job unless it's in the first team at Chelsea. Like, he wants to be involved with the first team. And
Is it Villa one? He was on Villa's back.
he was at Villa. He was at Villa assistant manager. But he doesn't want to work for any other team apart from the Chelsea first team now, which I love to hear that. I mean, how can you not?
I fucking hate John Terry.
Yeah, but you just bitter.
I can't stand
We
him.
were talking the other day actually about John Terry specifically, and we were saying there is certain controversies around John Terry that have happened that, when you actually think about it, it's ridiculous that he is as anywhere near the game as he still is. The fact that he's just been inducted into the Hall of Fame and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and you look at there's things that he's done and things he's said that if other players had done and said, they'd be blacklisted.
A lot of players have been very much adulterers. Ryan Giggs was
that-
a massive
that-
adulterer.
To be honest, that was like
PK's,
that was one of the
PK slept
minor
with
parts
Gavi's-
of it.
PK slept with Gavi's mum.
Did
But
that
yeah,
actually happen though?
Did that actually happen?
yeah.
Was that not like that rumour that went around that Zaha slept with
He was
Moyes'
cheating on Shakira with
daughter?
Gavi's
I
mum.
thought that did happen.
No, apparently it didn't. But
It's all allegations though, isn't it? Even if it is real, they're still going to come out
that
and
sort
say
of
it's
stuff, to be honest,
allegations.
was like the least of my worries when it
Yeah.
comes to John Terry. I just
Yeah.
think he got so far for being that like last bastion of English centre half, as
Yeah.
James Gordon called him. But how is he in the Hall of Fame? Obviously, yeah, all right, fantastic.
Because he's one of the
centre-half.
best centre backs of all time.
We always
He's an
debate
asshole.
about this as well. I
He's
don't,
an
I don't
asshole,
think he's
isn't he?
anywhere
He's an
near
asshole.
Rio Ferdinand as a footballer,
He's
as a
better
centre
than Rio
half. I don't think so.
Ferdinand.
But
He's definitely better than Rio Ferdinand, but we're getting distracted here. I
let's
like
get rid
John
of that
Terry.
debate.
John Terry should come and be in that setup.
right, okay. Well, I don't think he should.
No, because you're scared of the winning mentality he'll bring to that dressing room.
Yeah,
Well, they need one anyway.
yeah.
And Rodgers is gone as well.
Thank God. He's stinking up that gaff because Leicester are a good team. They've got some good players,
But
but
I think Leicester are at the level they are because of the work he's done there, if I'm honest. I think he's
Yeah.
gone stale,
Yeah,
definitely.
It has a bit.
But I think you've
that
absolutely
always
got to
happens
credit
with
him with where
Rodgers.
they're up to.
Yeah.
Like James Maddison
where
has
they're
put
up
a big
to,
thing on.
they're in a
and
relegation battle.
so's half the league if you want to.
Yeah, but Leicester shouldn't be in a relegation battle.
It's
He's taken them there.
It's the form post World Cup that I
Yeah.
saw the other day, and it's like they've got 8 points from 13
I don't think
games.
they were that good before the World
They
Cup.
weren't brilliant, but I mean, it's the form after.
But
the World
Leicester
Cup.
as well. There's been games where they haven't been bad.
Yeah.
Like you've said, Chelsea. You've played well against teams and not won. That's the story of Leicester this season. Maddison and Barnes have been outstanding. I think Maddison's definitely going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
That comes down to players performing well, not the team working well, because they've not been winning these games. They've been having nice moments where they look good, but they've not been winning. They've not been getting the results that they should be. Every week I look at the results and I go, Leicester lost again, right? Just waiting
But
for them
I
to get
think another
sacked their
thing with
manager.
Leicester is, in people's heads, they're a far bigger club in stature than they are.
That's it.
What's your realistic expectation of Leicester? But Brendan Rodgers won them an
Close
FA
to
Cup,
the
which I
Conference
think, by the
League.
way, was massively overachieving.
Yeah.
That wasn't Leicester to win the
Leicester
FA
have
Cup was
been
not a
massively
realistic.
overachieving for about 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that in terms
When
of
does
that
it become
mad Premier League
achieving?
win and that this FA Cup, people are like, oh, these should be banging on the door of Europa League.
But
I
they
don't
should
think
be.
they should.
I think they should be. If Fulham and Brentford are, then Leicester definitely
Yeah,
should.
but they shouldn't be. They've got no right to be as high as they are this season.
They definitely do. They've been playing great football.
Yeah,
But the
Ivan
league
Toney's got
is just
17
like
goals.
the league this season is you can be in a position that usually you would have to be outstanding to be in by being all right.
I disagree. Why is half the league in a relegation battle then?
That's exactly my point. It works the other way though, doesn't it? Like, with 6 points could separate 7th and the top 4 now still. Like,
yeah, I just think just because Chelsea and Arsenal and Liverpool are having bad seasons, you've just like written off the whole season as everyone being bad. But I think everyone's performing quite well. It's just so competitive.
I just think.
Then why is everyone taking points off you?
It's competitive, definitely, but I think the quality of the league this season is nowhere near what it has been.
I think
the fact Tottenham are in top 4 argues that. To be fair,
but I don't think it does because Conte was a good manager.
They've been grinding results, haven't they? But they haven't been very.
They haven't been playing very well, but they've been finding the results just about, and they're up in top 4 for a reason because the results have been good. It's just that Conte can't work well with a team. Like, he can't work well with clubs.
To be fair,
that want to control him.
having a type of season that if Haaland wasn't here, everyone would be like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kane is the saving grace of Tottenham, isn't he?
Son's quiet as well, isn't he?
He has gone off the boil a bit, hasn't he?
He came out and he was like, I feel really bad that Conte's gone because I feel like it's my fault.
That annoys me though. Why do
he
that?
just annoys me
Just
in general.
Put the effort in.
Yeah,
play well. Don't. Your manager's been sacked. Oh, it was my fault. I haven't pulled my weight. Your manager's been sacked now, hasn't he?
It's too late now, isn't it?
I think Son is such a fake person. I think he's not this Mr. Nice guy that everyone puts him out to be.
What's this based on though?
The fact that he's such a whiny little maggot. Like, I don't like him. How do you get a red card and go, oh, it's so unfair that I almost broke that guy's leg? Like, piss off, mate.
I think he probably just
felt
bad. He nearly broke his leg. In fairness.
No, because he was like, why did you turn me off? Like, he was just whinging. He's just a whinger.
I've always liked him too.
Yeah,
because you don't know him.
Okay.
Ollie, this might be personality-wise why you like John Terry and he doesn't. To be honest,
Maybe.
I like my players not to be little whingers.
Yeah. Like racists.
Yeah, I like them not to be massive racists.
Nah. Me too. Fully against
West
racism.
Ham is another one. David Moyes is somehow still floating around, isn't he? He's still in the
David
job.
Moyes has still got a job, but they're asking Graham Potter to be their manager. What's going on there?
Have they made a formal approach?
I don't know if it's a formal approach, but they really like him. They want him to come.
West Ham fans
Leicester
are really
approached
done
him as well.
with Moyes.
Yeah.
There's a lad who worked with me, and he was said when he came in, they were really excited, and he made progress with them, and he thought,
really
wow,
well
He was
year,
great
didn't
with
he
them.
did really well. But even last year, at times, I think they were getting to a point where if they had a different coach at the start of last season, they'd have probably
But who
won the it was the Europa League, wasn't it?
Was it the conference?
Was it the conference?
No, I don't know. Was it not Europa?
Who cares?
Who cares? One of them, yeah,
I
same
think it
thing.
was.
I think they got to the semi, didn't they? And I think
Europa League.
there's a feeling that they might have won it if they didn't have Moyes, rather than Moyes taking the credit for getting them there.
That's a terrible take because he got them there. What? So you're just going to swap for a different manager in the final that might be better than Moyes or might
Well,
not?
this is exactly like Graham Potter's just got
Sean
you
Dyche?
to the next round of the Champions League by knocking out PSG.
No, he didn't. We knocked out Dortmund.
Oh, same thing.
No, it's not.
I don't know. I feel like he did a good job.
Sorry,
there.
Bayern knocked out PSG.
Yeah,
London.
Yeah.
He did a good job there. It's just it has gone a bit off the ball. But then again, they got a good big win at the weekend. So
Yeah.
you know,
But I don't think many West Ham fans would want to see David Moyes there next season. I don't think they're going to see Declan Rice there next season either. I feel like it could be a very tough season if they don't appoint smart.
I don't know. The thing with Declan Rice is, I think they rightfully demand a lot of money for him. He's still got a few years left on his contract. I don't know who's going to pay that money that they're going to ask for him.
Yeah.
So
I think if you turn him back into a proper CDM, because he's been creeping forward.
But when he runs
Well, that's
with the
the
ball,
thing,
though,
isn't it?
he's hard to stop. To
He
be
is.
fair.
Because he always faces them allegations of does he bring enough goals and assists to his game to warrant 100 mil.
That's what Roy Keane was on it in for that when he was saying. And to be fair, I agree with the points that this season it feels like he's not really kicked on. Like it feels like every season's getting a bit better. It feels like it's stagnated a bit this year.
But then that is that a result of him still being at West Ham.
Yeah, exactly. And then them not doing as well. Yeah, I still really rate him. I think he's a top player. And if we didn't have Casemiro, I'd be all over him. But maybe we could get him and Casemiro. Who knows?
So one manager who has said, you might be asking why I'm still here, is Jurgen Klopp. 4-1 loss to Man City this weekend.
Yeah, it was was outrageous. We were awful. I went and I was dead excited going into it because it's always a crack when we play City, and it was just their
It was a
first.
bit of a cracker, to be fair. I enjoyed it.
I was in work, so
Their first two goals were exactly the same, and it was mad because as soon as we went 1-0 up, we didn't even try and capitalise. We didn't go, right, we've got these yet. It was like we shit ourselves, and I think Liverpool do that a lot this season. It goes well, and to be fair, usually if we're winning, if we get the first goal, we tend to win the game. Obviously, when you play Man City, you get punished a lot more than you would against other clubs, and then we shit ourselves. We conceded, I think, was it in less than 2 minutes into the second half, and then they were just all over us, and like their fans were olaying, and we just didn't touch the ball for a solid like 5 or 6 minutes, and it was soul destroying towards the end of that game. Our midfield just got carved apart, like maybe the worst I've seen it this season. The back four, I remember watching Kostas Tsimikas came on, and I quite liked Tsimikas, but it was like no one could make a decision. They were standing off players. Like Grealish had a field day before he went off.
He was great, Grealish.
And he just kept cutting inside. And like in the first half, we were saying he's just going to do that every time. He's going to cut inside, just stand them up, show him in, and let him pass the ball. And you think it would be that simple, but then every time he did it, he just carved everything. It was just thinking, what are you doing? There was times where there was like on the left hand, that like we have Robertson bunched up with Van Dijk, and then Fabinho looked like a headless chicken. He got the ball passed around him, or he was too late to press his man, or like he'd turn and the ball was gone. And then like either Grealish, he'd just run through three of them, and you just watch it, and it was the same thing every single time. And then they just punished us, and I think City played well. I think it was less City being amazing as us being absolutely terrible.
That's always your take, though. It's just because you're coming from the Liverpool fan.
Because often it is. It's the same way like when we beat them.
Yeah.
The score that shall not be named.
There's the weekly.
The weekly 7-0.
Yeah.
I think that will come back up later.
And it was mentioned that like, was it us being fantastic or was it them being that bad? I think when we tend to get battered, it is. I think to be fair, that day Liverpool were really good, but yous were horrendous.
Yeah, I think it takes both.
It's both sides.
It's a tango, doesn't it?
Against City, we were awful, mate. Like we were so bad. And then the changes I think were made too late, but then also didn't help. It's just you look at it now and you think I think top four is going to be really, really, really difficult for.
I'll be very surprised if you make top four.
I think the squad is capable of doing it. Of course they are.
It's the same squad it's been for the last 2 years.
This is exactly it. I don't think the squad's finished, and I actually think there's a possibility that the fix for this isn't this big rebuild that people think it is, which is going to annoy a lot of Liverpool fans if it is what I think it could be. I think it could be let's go out and get 1 or 2 big signings, maybe Jude, maybe someone else, maybe a centre half, and we just chalk it off. And we just go again. And we maybe like you start to see a bigger influence given to Hart. Well, he's already having a massive influence. Harvey Elliott's played like every single game this season, bar maybe one. And I think that's what we do. I don't think there's a massive rebuild. I think it's potentially we just this was shite. We just go again now.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it in terms of top four. I had in my head this week of fixtures you've got. I thought if you won 2 of them, got 6 points out of 9, you're well in it.
I still think just because it's Liverpool and it's what we do. Like when we said I'd be surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth beat us the other week. I reckon we'll beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
I could see.
I don't think you'll beat Arsenal.
We play Chelsea tonight. I can see that being. It could go either way, but I think we'll probably. I reckon we'll draw one and win one.
I think
of these
teams like Chelsea and Arsenal, with their fast-paced wingers that run at teams and cut inside, I think Trent is going to be terrified, and he's not going to try and track back at all because he just doesn't think he's going to get the ball. I think Joe Gomez is going to look like Ice Spice again and just get bent over.
Why is Joe Gomez even going to play?
I don't know. Why does he keep playing?
He didn't.
All right. Well, fine. Joe Gomez won't play then, okay. But he's been shit. So is Konate. Is Van Dijk
Konate's not
been
being
back?
shit. Konate's not being shit.
So how come you're conceding all these goals?
But that you can concede goals and play really well. Everyone knows that. Konate's not been shit. It's just, I think there's a bit of everything. I think tactically there's a few issues, and I think that to go back to what everyone roped on about at the start of the season, the midfield just gets destroyed. But the midfield used to lend itself massively in the way we play to the back four. The reason Trent would be okay to be so far up the pitch is because Henderson would cover him, but they don't anymore. I don't know if it's because they've been told to do something different, or they don't. They're trying to play the same way as they used to with these slight tweaks, but the slight tweaks are costing us. And then obviously, I think the other thing is individual fuck-ups. Someone makes a mistake, everyone shits themselves about making a mistake to the point where they just make another mistake. Konate has not been bad. Van Dijk has been worse.
Yeah.
Trent...
You can't defend. Trent can't defend, and you can't defend Trent's defending anymore. I'm sick of you trying to defend it.
But he can. But he can.
Sure, he can, but he doesn't. He does it every single time I watch him. I just think, right, Trent's been burned there, and he's not tried to recover it. Right, Trent's messed up there, and he's not tried to recover it. Everyone can sit there and see it because it happens every single week.
I could sit and watch any.
I think Martinelli and Trossard are going to ruin him.
I could sit and watch every fullback in the league and count how many times he gets beat by a
I
winger.
bet Trent would have a lot more. Because it's not the fact that he's getting beat that I'm fine with that. People get beat all the time, but he gets beat. He doesn't try again. He like De Bruyne. I was watching De Bruyne passed it to Grealish, and Grealish passed it back to De Bruyne. It was a simple go and give, and Trent was on De Bruyne. De Bruyne gave it. De Bruyne went. Trent went. Oh, he's gone.
The other thing, you centre half.
Just say anyone listening to the Spotify version then wouldn't have had a clue what you're on about there.
Yeah.
I'd
like to point out I was sat
watch
next
the
to
YouTube
Ollie,
version. I still don't think they'll see it because of the laptop.
I didn't particularly have a clue what he was on about, and I
basically
can see him.
Trent not tracking back.
Because his role, he's not told to track back sometimes.
Why
Trent.
is he not? I don't even care if you're not being told. As a right back, if your player goes past you and he's gonna get the ball again, you track back. Like if you've been told not to track back, then you've got to be like.
In one-on-ones, there are players I would prefer to be there than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, to say Trent can't defend isn't true.
Then why does he only defend when Henderson's defending for him?
In an offensive passage of play with Liverpool, there's times where, as our right back, he's the most advanced player on the pitch.
That's another issue then. Why is your right back your most advanced player? Right back's a defender.
It wasn't an issue when it won us every trophy.
Yeah, but you're not winning trophies. You're losing games.
My opinion on Trent is, obviously, there's parts of his games that is lacking, obviously. But I think the qualities he brings you, especially going forward, you need to have him.
You can account for that.
He's great going forward, but this Liverpool team, they need help defensively, and they don't have a better right
because
back.
Obviously the system's not working as well. His weaknesses are being highlighted.
It's exposing it.
Yeah, it's exposing.
But when the system works,
when the system works, it works and it allows for that. But you can't just play one system at this level. In the modern game, you can't just be like, it's all right that he concedes 2 goals a game because he gets us 1 assist a game. This doesn't work like that.
That's not the case. When everyone pulls away, Trent doesn't concede us 2 goals. Trent doesn't concede us 2 goals anyway. By the way, in fact,
Trent plays a major fault in a lot of goals you concede.
So does mate. So every single player in the Liverpool team this season, bar maybe the front 3. As
they do. Maybe I've got a bit of vendetta against Trent because people used to think he was better than Reece James, but he is. He is terrible at defending. He's not a defensive player, and he's been playing in a system that's permitted him to show off his attacking attributes, and he is amazing at attacking. I won't deny that. He's got one of the best passes. But every time I watch him play, it's like he wishes he was a winger and not had these defensive responsibilities, which you do have in the modern game.
He gets exposed by the fuck-ups of the other players who aren't pulling their weight as much as they should be. And if they were, it would look fine. And it is fine, because that's how he plays, that's how our system's tailored. But it's going on because there's issues all over the park for Liverpool. Liverpool's issue is not just... If Liverpool this season had a prime Kyle Walker or Gary Neville in the team as a right-back, they're still conceding goals every game.
They're still conceding, but the team would improve.
But you could... Any single player, bar maybe Trent and Alisson.
I agree. The whole Liverpool team has been very bad this season. But I just don't think Trent's putting in that effort to change that.
None of them are. This is the whole thing.
Fine, none of them are. That's fine. But I'm just highlighting Trent because I just am.
Well, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one, aren't we? Because it's you know
we are.
But I was just thinking then. Do you remember all that talk about what people used to say? Oh, put Trent in midfield. Do you remember that? It's
that's
died,
back.
isn't it? Is it back
No,
now?
it's back. There's a lot of that back. There's a lot of people. In fact, some of the Anfield rap lads are on about this. That you've got like your perfect right-sided midfield player playing right back.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it tried.
Did he? I've got a vague memory of him playing there for England once.
Southgate did it once, and but because it's Gareth Southgate, the rest of his lineup was absolutely shocking, wasn't it? So, it's one of them. If you put in there that you have to change a lot of other things. Next season, I think I'd rather have. I don't think he's in my ideal midfield next season. Do you know what I mean?
This is it. Like right midfield's obviously different, but the centre mid talks I heard. It's like such a different position.
It's massively different.
You have to have a lot of energy, and you have to be willing to track back, and that's not something Trent can do.
Honestly, on the ball, he's brilliant, and that's what a centre midfielder needs to do. But there's so many other aspects to it. I just think, but right midfield, I'd like to see that.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. Maybe
I'd rather him there than at right back because I just don't think he understands how to be a defensive right back, and you need to be when you're not winning games and controlling other games like this.
Let's move on. In fact, I've just seen what's next. Carry on.
All right, we're gonna move on. Man United have lost again. Newcastle 2, Man United 0. Shay?
Yeah, you know what? It was a really worrying performance actually because there's been a lot of fear with a lot of United fans that the wheels might come off. We played a lot of games. The squad is very thin, and it could just have been a one-off, but. In terms of the whole game, the chances created, we just looked so off it. And obviously the Liverpool game was worse, but the first half of the Liverpool game we created, we looked all right. As a whole in this game, it was awful. Just at no point did we look like we had any control, created enough chances consistently. It was worrying, and I think there's a lot of talk now about obviously Weghorst. He's played every game. He started every game since he's come in. He's not good enough to play for United. Like as a stopgap, people.
Gary Neville thinks he's better than Ronaldo.
Here's that. What I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Is this season going forward, on the pitch wise, ignore the other. I mean, it's a big aspect. Ignore the other shit that went with it. Would you rather have Cristiano Ronaldo or Wout Weghorst starting every game this season?
Well, this is me and Ollie were talking about this before, weren't we? And I think I decided if you could somehow get out. Change Ronaldo's personality and have a totally different personality. Ability-wise, you'd absolutely have Ronaldo. Even at this age, I think you'd have Ronaldo. He's just a better football player. But I think just what he was bringing to the team as a whole wasn't working. And when you put Weghorst in there, suddenly Rashford started to score more. But obviously, we were so reliant on Rashford scoring. This is another problem. And now he's gone through a little patch now where he's not scored, and we just don't look like scoring at all. And that's how I describe that game. Worrying. Newcastle, brilliant. Just better all around the pitch, look like a proper team, which is weird because I thought they were going through a blip and I thought they might try it off. But they're back.
That's huge in the top 4 race as well.
It's massive. There's a lot of talk about them going over the top in their celebrations. Don't know if you've seen any of them.
I think for them as well, though, it's a bit of like
they have been.
After the cup final, it
was a bit of revenge, wasn't it? Yeah.
We're capable of beating these. Like,
and I didn't really buy into a lot of the celebration stuff because I was like, it's a big game, it's a massive game.
Yeah, I hate when fans are like, why are you celebrating so much? Because we just won, you mug. Because we just saved ourselves 2 points being lost. Like, what do you mean?
It was slightly over the top, slightly.
No, it wasn't. It's fair. At this point in the season, 3 points are massive against anyone,
it's a massive
let alone
game.
a direct rival in the league
they
table.
massively deserved it as well because they were brilliant. But we desperately need. I think Martial needs to come back. He when he came on, thing is, I watched the first half. The second half, I was on my way to go-karting in Wigan, so I heard it on the radio. But on the radio it was just all Newcastle. United barely got a mention. But yeah, Martial sounded like he'd influenced the game a bit. So could do with him getting back. Eriksen and Casemiro are two massive players for us as well.
Even more frustrating for you because you were on this upward trajectory and it's like, oh, hang on, let's ground a bit.
Yeah, I think it might have long term. It's one of those. It might have helped the realism of it all because there's some talk about us in the title race or whatever. But I think starting 11 wise, I think we could give anyone a game. But I think as soon as you start losing key players like Casemiro, like Eriksen, the backups just aren't as good. And I think it could be a good thing that it makes everyone aware that, listen, this squad's nowhere near complete. I don't think Ten Hag was thinking that at all, but I just think, those higher up, if we had a really good end to the season and finished,
they'd have thought this is fine.
Thought this is all right here. But it's not.
I could be wrong. Aren't you only 3 points better off this season than you were at the same stage?
I saw that. But there's two things to that. One, from this point to the end of the season, Rangnick, it went really badly wrong. Like, we couldn't win a game. And then the second thing is, we went out of both cups really early.
Right.
So obviously that was a major thing. We only had the league to play for, really.
I think that's the main thing that people are kind of dismissing with Man United. Like, they're still in every competition that they started in this season.
Yeah.
Other teams around them don't have that. Newcastle don't have that. Arsenal don't have that. Tottenham don't have that.
This is where that becomes a real test, though. Like, it's all right getting to that position, but at this stage of the season, that can be your downfall if you're not prepared to it and you don't take that with both hands and really go for it.
Or if your squad's not up to it, and that is my one worry with it.
Would you take Europa League, finishing in the Europa League, and winning the FA Cup and the League Cup, or would you rather not win any trophies and get top 4?
I'm a bit old-fashioned. I just love a trophy, and I think the modern game, you probably need top 4 with all the financial fair play and stuff. It does help.
I don't think with United you do.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, for us, it might not be as impactful. But we were discussing the Champions League the other day, weren't we, and saying, is it slightly overrated in the fact getting there? You play 6 group games against.
I'm not having this again.
Could often be
Champions League is the pinnacle of football.
It. And
no,
but
I
whereas
didn't.
last week you said to sign players,
asking him a question.
You need Champions League.
No, I was asking him a question. But Champions League is the pinnacle of football. If you want to compete as a big team, if you want to be one of the big teams, you have to be in the Champions League. It's just a fact.
Yeah, I just think I agree with that statement. I just think that the idea of the Champions League at times, and like Champions League football is this like holy level of the game. So you can watch Champions League group stages, and there's some absolutely shocking fixtures and shocking quality games. But
the teams that are in it for a reason, and the teams that you're referencing as like shit teams are just because they're in shit leagues, and you have to represent those leagues. You can't just ignore them.
That's what I'm just saying.
But the best teams are in the Champions League.
I think, like Shay said, if it was win an FA Cup and a League Cup, a trophy double or get top 4. I want 2 trophies and an open top bus parade, rather than top 4 and our accounts look good next season.
Yeah, exactly. And there was this. I remember when Ollie was in charge, not you. Ollie
I was going to say, I thought I'd remember that.
Yeah, we got in top 4 on the last day of the season, beat Leicester to overtake them. We get in top 4, and it was all like, yeah, we're in this. Next season, we went out in the round of 16. It was like, well, what was all that for?
Yeah.
What was all that excitement for? It was rubbish. So
that's hope, isn't it? Football's built on hope.
Maybe. I mean, ideally, we'd win the Europa League and get Champions League that way anyway, and then that's a trophy and Champions League. But yeah, it's one of those.
Do you think you will make top 4?
I still think we will. We've got 2 games in hand on Spurs, so if we win both of them, which obviously is a big if, but if we do, we're 6 points ahead of them. They're not. No,
I don't know. Ryan Mason's their manager at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the assistant, isn't
Again,
he?
Yeah. But so I think we might just have enough. But yeah, that's how I describe that game, worrying, because I thought this might kick in a few weeks' time, but it looks like it's kicked in a bit sooner than I thought. So.
But where are these games against Tottenham? Are they in London or are they in Manchester? Because that seems to play a massive impact on how you play.
What do you mean?
Are they at home or away?
What is?
Same games against Tottenham.
I don't know. I'll try to work out the games. This week, one of them is at home. So, yeah. I'm not sure about the other one, to be honest.
Let's have a look. Because your away record in the Premier League is abysmal, especially against top half teams.
I think the top 9 teams, we've lost all away games that we played against the top 9 so far.
Yeah.
It's incomparable compared to the home team.
You are away against Tottenham.
Yeah, that's
That's a tough game.
That's going to be a massive game. Obviously, it's right at the end of April.
Also depends if between now and then, if Tottenham if Tottenham bring in a fairly decent appointment, you could be competing with a manager bounce there as well.
A manager bounce. That is the most unscientifically proven but strongest forces.
Weirdest phenomenon in football.
It's so
Yeah,
weird,
we beat
isn't it?
AC Milan. Well, we beat Dortmund as well with Graham Potter, so maybe he's just European bred.
There's no. What is the reason for it? Is it just players suddenly go, "Oh, I'm going to try harder"?
I don't know. You definitely notice it though. I think
It's 100% the thing.
Yeah.
I think part of it has got to be like players in the squad trying to prove that they're going to keep their shit.
Yeah, impress the new manager.
But then it's mad because like you could take someone from, you could say like Dorking Wonder as his manager and put him at like AC Milan, and for 2 or 3 games they'd win.
Yeah, it's annoying really because it shows.
Sounds like
I reckon you
okay,
could.
all
Listen,
right, hypothetical.
if you watch a bunch of amateurs on TikTok, I quite rate that Dorking Wonder as manager. So
I don't know what you're talking about there.
yeah.
He's talking about some geezer taking over AC Milan and doing anything good.
Listen, the only TikTok page I'm interested in is our TikTok page.
Yeah,
which
is had some interesting content go out on it in the last couple of weeks.
We've got multiple hate comments already, haven't we?
The funniest
I
one,
just keep
by the way,
blocking out the haters.
I want to come back to was, so we did like a football tier list challenge thing, and Ollie put his out, and someone took the time out of their day to come back to this and comment.
Roast me for no reason.
Not only did they think his selections were a load of bollocks, but they personally attacked you, didn't they?
Lacking in ball knowledge and charisma, mate. I do one, lad.
Yeah.
And then you had a stinker with yours as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
What did the lad put?
What did he put? He put.
He just never rate again.
He stated that I should never ever rate again.
And accompanied it.
You did get Bergkamp and go,
No, but that was only because I had Mateus already high up, and I was
watch
like,
a lot of Mateus, yeah.
Well, if you watch this Italian 90 documentary, he was immense. He was immense. But that was in my mind. So,
Paul Pogba did end up top of your team.
He did. But on his day,
he's
better than anyone on his day.
But I just want to go back to Man United quickly, because I just think it'd be great if Harry Kane scores those goals against you, puts you in the Europa League, and then he comes and he has to play for Man United in the Europa League next season.
It's one of those weird things, isn't it, that possibly could happen. But yeah, I'd love Kane at United. I think I've decided he is my number one.
I think he has to.
Just above.
I just think he's going to go
as my number one target.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of talk, hasn't there, recently about what he's like. Obviously, he's just tops England's record goal scoring charts. I honestly think he's a player that's so underappreciated.
I really rate him very highly.
I
think he's great.
And there's always talk: is he a better player than Rudy? Maybe not, probably not. But his all-round ability is severely underrated. He's
a centre forward and he scores goals.
Yeah,
his passing range is
that's
great,
it. He's not even just a goal scorer, which in its own would be fine.
Him and Son as a partnership when they were flying.
They've got like the most goals like together than any partnership.
They're like they broke like every record, haven't they?
He's brilliant. He's brilliant, and I think he's one of them that in 20 years' time might look back and go, wow, what a player. But at this present moment, people seem to have this weird thing where they don't rate him.
Do you know what? An underrated part of his game. He's a bit of a master of the dark arts as well, isn't he?
He is.
The only thing I don't like about him is that thing he does on headers. The way he angles himself when he goes up for an aerial duel, because he's going to really seriously hit someone.
It is dangerous, that, isn't it?
Well, if you can scare people off any way you can, do it.
But as we saw against Everton, I mean, that's a red card, isn't it?
It's definitely a red card.
He definitely exaggerated it. It's a red card.
It's one of those, though, like, you know what, actually, I thought because he was England's captain, he might get away with it. But people have been going for him, haven't they, really, like, going, why have you done that?
People are always going for him. I think because no one likes Tottenham. That's the thing.
He's probably the only player in the league, I think, that could do that. That could have happened to him what happened to him with Decore, and then Kane be the bad guy in that situation.
I think Bruno Fernandes would be up there as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but he's an op.
Point proven there. But yeah,
I still don't see Harry Kane as a bad guy in that situation at all.
I think he's great.
I think Harry.
You
Kane
never hear
brilliant.
a bad thing about him as well, which is.
I mean, he's England's captain for a reason.
That is hilarious when you do hear his team talks.
Yeah.
They are so funny.
It's just like everyone in the front row is like, you haven't got an umbrella.
He's not blessed in the public speaking
Blessed.
department, is he? But yeah, he's a top.
But
top
no, I
player.
think one of the reasons he doesn't get enough respect is because his trophy cabinet is empty. He hasn't won anything.
This is my thing, though. If he had won a League Cup, would you suddenly think he's so much better player? I'm not saying you particularly, but other
No.
people.
Well,
But I think it would have helped.
Alan Shearer
But I don't think
is
that's
pretty
what
much
people are saying when they're missing trophies. I don't think they're talking about a League Cup.
Alan Shearer is pretty much straight in to everyone's all-time 11s, and he only won one league title, didn't he?
Yeah.
So if he didn't win that league title at Blackburn, was he not as good?
Well, I don't think
Make any
he is
sense.
straight in. Like, considering he scored more Premier League goals than anyone else, I don't think he's like recognisably seen as the best striker in the Premier League history. I don't think many people would put him there.
I think most teams would have him in number 9, wouldn't they? I mean, who else would you have in?
Rooney, Aguero, Van Persie, Ruud van
Aguero is
Nistelrooy,
nowhere near.
Drogba. No, but these players are often put over him because of their title wins.
Yeah, but I think it's also because a lot of people our age might be doing it and not have seen him. I think most people have seen
Maybe.
him play.
Definitely.
Yeah, but
I mean, he scored goals in
Dunno.
the first division as well before it was the Premier.
when it was like 48 games a season.
Like he still scored
Yeah.
goals.
But if he was doing 38 games a season, he probably wouldn't be the record tally holder. But I think if Kane goes United, he will break Alan Shearer's record.
He's how many does he need?
Is he over 200 now?
I'll look it up.
I think he's over 200.
It's doable. Like there was a time when you were starting to look at it and think, I don't think he's going to get there now.
I'm sure it's something like if he plays till he's 33 or what. I'm just chatting absolute out my
So when
arse.
saying that
4
Kane
goals.
has scored the amount of goals he scored in that Tottenham team, and I think if he, with the supply, he'd get at Man United or somewhere like that.
Yeah, just
So Kane's on 205.
205. So what? Shearer's on 260 something. Isn't he?
Yeah,
260, yeah.
That's 3 good seasons.
That's 3 good seasons.
He
Maybe
could-
even 2 if you're Harry Kane.
Yeah, he could do that easy.
He's on 22 goals this season already. I think he's just... Because Haaland's come in and just been scoring goals for fun, I think people don't recognise how good a season Harry Kane is having.
That's exactly it.
I think you might have said that today.
I'd said it in this exact podcast actually, just earlier on.
You know what? I thought it sounded familiar.
Yeah. Has anyone watching any films recently? Had any film recommendations?
No, but I do
No?
really want to watch Rain Man. I saw a clip of it on TikTok earlier.
Rain
I just
Man?
really want to watch
Man?
Rain Man.
Has anyone ever heard of what's
Have
Rain
you
Man?
never heard of
I've
Rain?
heard of
What do
it.
you mean?
It's
that
Dustin Hoffman. Isn't
Dustin
it?
Hoffman
And,
as a mentally challenged guy with
Tom Cruise in it.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they start reading cards in the casino and make bare money.
Have you ever heard the phrase like, "Oh, he's like Rain Man" because he just for people that
'Cause he's
smart?
got
Is this
yeah.
still right over your head? All
I've
this?
missed this. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I've not
it's a
seen
pretty
the film,
famous
to be
film.
fair.
I've never
No,
seen
I've
it,
not
but I
seen
want
it.
to.
Oh, I thought. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I thought you were like there was a film that's just come out. that
No,
you-
it's
No,
like a
this is like-
classic, like old school film.
When was it? 90s.
I think it's
again?
90s. Tom Cruise's hair screams 90s. So
Yeah, it was a while ago, like, but
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've not really seen any films recently. Just
No.
To be fair, there's quite a lot out as well.
there isn't there?
There is.
I did. I went. I might have said this the other week. I went to watch Ant-Man.
Oh yeah. I've lost so much interest in the Marvel films. I just don't care. Black Panther I enjoyed, and Shang-Chi was pretty cool, but I just don't care anymore.
We've had this argument before, haven't we? But the superhero films, I'm just so bored of them.
You've never really-
I've
been
never
super
really been
interested in
massive
it.
into them. Like the Avengers, I could buy into it a bit, and I think they were for what they were good films.
Yeah.
And there was like a plot there, and it was sort of interesting. But now,
That helps.
Not really good
Yeah.
cinema though, really. Like Martin Scorsese said, they're not cinema. They're just
Yeah.
Yeah,
films.
but at times I think he is just old and miserable because
Exactly,
his
yeah,
films don't make
yeah.
as much money now.
that's it. And the film critics, it's like what makes a good film, and it's like if you enjoy it, it's a good film, isn't it?
Well, look,
Yeah.
We had a discussion, didn't we?
did, actually,
and one of our mates, Ollie, gets really annoyed about this because I think that the Oscars are quite gate kept in terms of to win an Oscar now you've got to be a very artsy kinds of film.
Yeah.
So I don't think Jurassic Park wins an Oscar today if it came out today like it did then.
Yeah.
No.
In terms of an entertainment value film, it's got to be all. I think it has to be. Obviously, cinematography is an art, isn't it? And that has
Yeah.
its own category. But The Batman, this didn't get nominated for best cinematography.
But I think it's just because no one really cares about superhero films apart from superhero fans.
I think
I think when you go,
To say
if you
superhero
wanna-
film-
if you want to win, like Batman's not going to win at a film festival. You know, it's an
I mean,
art that they're talking about.
But
They're trying to appreciate
to
an
put
art.
the Batman, the Robert Pattinson, the Batman in the same category as a Marvel film is completely.
Yeah, sure, but it's
They're
still a
not,
superhero.
Yeah, but
this is the point though, that why can't just good films win? Like, and I had this period where in lockdown I got right into films, and
his letterbox page was.
yeah, it was popping off, yeah, and there was this, what was it called Bicycle Thieves, and it's like a 1930s French film or something, and everyone raves about it, and I got it on BMI or whatever it was. And I paid like probably $5 for it because I was like, I'm a film buff now. I want to see these films, and it was shit. It was really bad. It was really, really bad, and I was like, oh, this is just a bit rubbish. And then it just sort of like made me think, maybe I'm not.
But what
into
year
this.
did that film come out?
It was like 1938 or something.
Yeah, so you're watching it through a completely different lens.
I think you
maybe,
can
but-
destroy though your perception of films by like. I don't think if you've gone and done a master's degree or an undergrad degree in film, you can't just sit and chill and watch a film because you'll just subconsciously be like, that shot then. Oh.
Yeah, but that's part of the
What's
reason
the
I like
director's
watching
vision?
films.
That's it. And I had a period where I wanted to be a film critic, but then I kept thinking, I'm just going to be watching this film thinking, what can I say about this film rather than just watching it and enjoying it.
So you're doing it with sport now instead.
Yeah. I was just but yeah. So there's our little moan about modern films.
Modern films. The Oscars.
Yeah.
Is one.
Listen,
Yeah, well, all those kind of award shows are so gatekeeped, in it. Like the Grammys, the Oscars, they're all political as hell.
I mean, do you actually watch?
signs, don't
Yeah.
they?
Do you actually watch?
I don't watch them.
I
but
don't know
like
anyone
to
that
know
watches the
what
Oscars.
wins.
Apart from
No.
does Ollie Cordova watch them?
He has done.
Yeah.
They're on at like 3 a.m. our time.
He hasn't. I feel like Ollie's getting a bit of a bad rap here.
I know. Yeah. It's such a sound
He's
lad,
such a
isn't
sound
he?
fella, by the way. Ollie, if you're watching,
Cheers,
you might have turned off now.
But yeah, I don't know anyone that's actually watched them. I think they're really boring. And
Well, I feel
rubbish,
like I think they're quite an awkward time for UK, innit? So I feel like in America it might be more of a thing. I don't know. Like the Emmys and the Tonys, at least they have a fucking like show about them.
The
you know?
Tonys,
No,
that's for like
Tonys.
plays, innit?
Musicals and that.
You big into the Tony Awards, are you?
Nah, but I've seen like Neil Patrick Harris's like shows when he does it.
Oh, I've
he like
seen it.
presents and they're
I've
pretty
actually,
sick.
I've actually seen that.
They're good.
I forgot we watched the boxing, didn't we, on Saturday?
We did watch
We
the
did,
boxing, yeah.
yeah.
AJ won another boring decision.
Yeah,
Come on, we were all like, I think I'm gonna bet him 3rd round KO. You know, I'm gonna say 6th round KO, and then he barely got like his power of hand going.
yeah, he didn't.
He was
But
trying
at
to
the
box
same
again.
time, he took next to no damage, and
Yeah, but
it was an easy.
It was a
It
solid
was
performance.
Franklin,
solid
though,
performance,
you know?
it
It was Franklin.
No
No one was expecting him to get any damage.
No, they weren't exactly, and he didn't. So I think that's like
Yeah, he
On
didn't
to
really
the
prove
next.
anything though. I don't know. I just left me a bit feeling flat.
But yeah, at the time I agree. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought he's just come off the back of 2 losses. You know, a lot of pressure on this fight. You know, his career was almost on the line on this fight.
Yeah.
And it was a solid performance. Yeah, I think he has to kick on, obviously. But I think for what he had to do on that night, he did it, and he's set himself up.
the other thing I'd say. People are
potentially
starting
win
to
the
credit Joshua with a bit more that they perhaps weren't before, because when everyone was all over Fury, is that Joshua's fought Usyk twice. He lost his belts. He did it. He maybe with a fluke. He lost his belts to Andy Ruiz. Then he won it back.
Yeah.
He fights people who he's told to fight, or like who are the challenges for his belts in the big fights. And now we're starting to see that Fury doesn't necessarily do the same
Fury
thing.
is
Does
the
he?
worst for that. I think a lot of respect should go to Usyk, and Fury is just
I love
he's
how you
being
call
a
him
little,
Usyk.
being a little bitch back, man. He's so annoying about
It's
it.
one of those, like he'll say, oh yeah, make it free. I'll fight for free as long as it's free for the British public. It's like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Clearly won't, will you?
Just stuff.
No
like
no one's expecting to watch the world heavyweight champion unification fight for free. No one cares if it's free.
Yeah.
Like no one. All right, it might be nice to give away a few tickets to school kids. No one cares if you have every year 6 in London on a school trip to the arena to watch
That'd be
it.
dead. They'd give no atmosphere. They'd just be like,
It's not a charity, it's a sport. That's
Exactly. Well, people are happy to pay as long as it's not fighting Chisora for the 9th time or something.
To be fair, that is actually... I feel a bit bad for Derek Chisora because there's talks about him getting this other fight that he's meant to have. And that man is visibly starting to show signs of CTE, I'm telling you. just let him retire.
yeah.
Right, should we wrap it up there anyway?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
What do you reckon? Predictions for tonight?
Oh, it's so hard, isn't it? Because I don't know who Bruno Salvatore is. I'll say 1-0. 1-0. Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah, I'll take 1-0. I'd say 1-0. But we'll beat Arsenal. We'll beat Arsenal at the weekend.
I don't think you're going to beat
0-0.
Arsenal.
I think it's going to be a 0-0.
0-0. Yeah, probably. I'm not that excited. But it'll be interesting to see how we play just for Bruno. But
bring back the international break, eh?
Yeah, let's just end the season. Let's just call it quits.
Yeah.
Start again next year. We'll go again. Anyway.
Yeah. Check out the TikTok page.
Yeah, watch the
Check
TikTok
out
page.
All the socials linked there now.
And Ollie Cordova, nice fella.
Yeah.
Sad. Nice.
Cheers.